Okay, so I seen this video earlier this morning talking about a mustard seed, and it really intrigued me and totally blew my mind. So I have to deep dive in this. Now, you've probably heard it 1,000 times. All you need is the faith the size of a mustard seed. It is the verse quoted in every Sunday sermon, every motivational Christian post, and every time someone tries to remind you just to believe. But what if I told you the verse doesn't actually say size? In fact, the entire message Jesus gave in that moment wasn't about how small your faith is, but how alive it could be. Now, let's dive into what Jesus actually meant when we talked about the mustard seed and why this tiny plant carries one of the biggest lessons in all of Scripture. Now, in Matthew 17:20, the KJV version says, "If ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall unto this mountain remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you." Now, pause on that phrase, faith as a grain of mustard seed, not faith the size, but the faith as. The Greek word used here is hos, H-O-S, meaning like, in the same manner as, of the same kind as. Jesus wasn't saying if you have a teeny tiny faith, you can move mountains. He was saying if your faith is like the mustard seed, alive, persistent, growing, nothing will be impossible for you. So, what makes a mustard seed so special? In the ancient world, the mustard seed was known as one of the smallest seeds planted in gardens, but it grew into one of the largest garden plants, sometimes even becoming tree-like shrub over 10 feet tall. It spreads, it thrives, it grows rapidly, even in harsh, dry soil. And once it's rooted, good luck trying to get rid of it. In other words, it is tenacious. That's the heart of a mustard seed faith. It's not about being big enough. It's about being alive enough to keep growing, to push through the dirt, the dark, and the drought until it breaks through to the light. When Jesus used a mustard seed, he was describing a living process, not a measurement. Faith isn't static. It's not something you have or don't have. It's something that grows, stretches, roots, and branches out. And maybe that's why Jesus compared it to a seed, because seeds don't look powerful when you first hold them. They look small, fragile, and unimpressive. But when the seed is planted, when it's hidden into the ground and watered with trust, that's when it starts to transform. That's mustard seed faith, faith that refuses to stay buried. See, Jesus wasn't rebuking the disciples for not having enough faith. He was showing them that faith isn't about quantity, it is about quality. The disciples were struggling to cast out demons. They thought maybe their faith wasn't big enough, but Jesus said, in essence, you don't need more faith, you need real faith, living faith, mustard seed faith. Faith that doesn't need proof before it moves. Faith that grows even when you can't see results yet. Faith that looks impossible but refuses to die. In Matthew 13:31 through 32, Jesus tells another parable about the mustard seeds. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field, which indeed is the least of all seeds, but when it is grown, it is greater than the herbs and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air come and lodge into its branches. This wasn't just botanical poetry, this was revelation. Faith starts small, hidden, overlooked, but once it's planted in your heart, it takes over everything. It changes the landscape around you. It grows into a shelter for others. That's what your faith is meant to do. Not stay tiny, not stay in your pocket like a pebble, but to expand, stretch, become something others can take refuge in. So when Jesus said, if you have the faith as a mustard seed, he wasn't inviting you to measure your faith. He was inviting you to plant it. Because a seed doesn't move mountains by looking at them. It moves mountains by growing through them. Maybe you're standing in front of a mountain right now and something feels unmovable, unchangeable. And maybe you've been praying thinking, I just don't have enough faith. But Jesus never told you to have enough faith. He told you to have living faith, the kind that grows roots even in rocky soil, the kind that keeps reaching for the light when all you see is darkness. That's mustard seed faith, small appearance and unstoppable in spirit. So the next time you hear someone say, all you need is the faith the size of a mustard seed, you can smile because you know the deeper truth. It's not the size of your faith that moves mountains. It's the nature of it. Because when faith is alive, when it's growing, persistent, unshakable, even the impossible becomes possible. The mustard seed doesn't stay small, neither should your faith. So plant it. Water it. Let it grow roots so deep that even when the storms come, you still stand tall. Because the world doesn't need big faith, it needs real faith. Faith like a mustard seed. Have a good night, guys. Bye.